Stop. Right now. Stop scrolling. This is not content you stumbled upon by accident. This is not entertainment. This is not even meant for most people who will see it. But you were meant to find this. There is knowledge disappearing from this world. Ancient wisdom that once lived in the depths of jungles, in the hearts of indigenous keepers, in oral traditions passed down through countless generations. It is vanishing, not slowly, not gradually, but rapidly, deliberately, systematically. And most people will never know what was lost. But you are here, in this moment, reading these words, and that means something in you remembers, something in you recognizes that humanity is forgetting the most important truths, the ones that cannot be found in books approved by institutions, the ones that cannot be taught in schools funded by those who profit from your ignorance. These are the jungle secrets. Not jungle in the literal sense alone, though yes, the rainforests are burning, and with them the knowledge of plant medicine, of energy healing, of living in harmony with the earth. But jungle in the deeper sense, the wild, untamed wisdom that exists before civilization tried to cage it, before religion tried to own it, before science tried to explain it away. This wisdom is primal, instinctual, unfiltered. It is the knowing that lives in your bones, in your blood, in the part of you that still remembers you are not separate from nature, but are nature expressing itself in human form. And it is being erased. Why? Because it makes you powerful, because it makes you ungovernable. Because people who know these secrets cannot be controlled through fear, cannot be sold solutions to problems they don't actually have, cannot be kept small and obedient, and perpetually seeking outside themselves for permission to be whole. So the secrets are suppressed, ridiculed, called primitive, superstitious, dangerous. The keepers of this wisdom are marginalized, their land stolen, their voices silenced. And piece by piece, the map to your own power is being burned. But not yet, not completely. You have found this transmission before it disappears. And what you're about to hear is not new information. It is ancient remembering, a reactivation of what your ancestors knew, what indigenous cultures never forgot, what the jungle has always whispered to those who know how to listen. You do not need to believe what I am about to share. You do not need to understand it with your logical mind. You simply need to listen, to feel, to allow the frequency of these words to awaken what has been dormant within you. Because once it awakens, no one can take it from you. No amount of suppression can erase what you remember in your soul. This is urgent. This is sacred. This is your birthright being returned to you before the door closes completely. So breathe, settle in, and prepare to remember what you have always known. The jungle is calling, and it is time to answer. Chapter 1. The first secret. You are not separate from the earth. The greatest lie ever told is that you are separate. Separate from nature. Separate from the earth. Separate from the animals, the plants, the rivers, the very soil beneath your feet. This lie is the foundation of the modern world, and it is killing everything. But the jungle knows the truth. The indigenous peoples who live close to the earth know the truth. And somewhere buried beneath layers of conditioning, you know the truth. You are not on the earth. You are the earth, experiencing itself, expressing itself, breathing itself into human form. Think about it. Where did your body come from? The minerals in your bones were once rock and soil. The water in your blood was once rain and river. The oxygen in your lungs was exhaled by the trees. You are not made of nature. You are nature, temporarily arranged into the pattern you call yourself. The ancients understood this. They did not see themselves as separate observers of the natural world. They saw themselves as threads in the web, as cells in the body of the living earth. When they hunted, they asked permission. When they harvested, they gave thanks. Not out of primitive superstition, but out of knowing, deep cellular knowing, that to harm the earth is to harm yourself. But somewhere along the way, humanity was taught to forget this. You were told you have dominion over nature, that you are superior, that the earth exists to serve you, to be conquered, to be used. And look where that has led. Forests burning, oceans choking, species disappearing, not just out there in some distant ecosystem, but within you. Because when you believe you are separate from the earth, you disconnect from the source of your own vitality, your own wisdom, your own power. The jungle secrets begin here with the remembering of your belonging. Close your eyes for a moment. Feel your body. Notice your heartbeat. That rhythm, that steady pulsing rhythm, is the same rhythm that moves through the earth, the seasons, the tides, the cycles of growth and decay and rebirth. You are not an isolated individual fighting for survival in a hostile world. You are an expression of the Earth's consciousness. The planet is not beneath you. It is you. And when you remember this, truly remember it, not just intellectually, but in your cells, everything changes. You stop fearing nature. You stop trying to control it. You stop seeing scarcity because you realize you are part of an ecosystem that naturally provides. The trees breathe for you. The soil feeds you. The water cleanses you, not as resources to be exploited, but as extensions of your own body. Indigenous cultures have practices to maintain this remembering. They sit on the earth without barriers. They plant with their hands in the soil. They speak to the plants, to the animals, to the elements, not because they are simple or naive, but because they are awake. You have forgotten how to do this. You have been taught that it is irrational, unscientific, foolish. But the truth is, speaking to the earth, listening to the earth, honoring the earth as alive and conscious, this is the most rational thing you can do, because it is true. Science is finally catching up. Studies on forest bathing show measurable health benefits. Research on grounding reveals that direct contact with the earth reduces inflammation and stress. Mycologists are discovering that trees communicate through fungal networks, sharing resources, warning each other of danger. The wood wide web, they call it. The indigenous elders smile. They have always known. This is the first secret. Separation is the illusion. Connection is the reality. And the moment you return to this knowing, the moment you stop seeing yourself as separate and start experiencing yourself as part of, your entire relationship with life transforms. You stop taking more than you need because you understand that hoarding harms the whole, which means it harms you. You stop polluting because you recognize that poison put into the earth becomes poison in your body. You stop feeling alone because you realize you're held by an intelligence so vast, so ancient, so loving, that no human institution can replicate it. The earth is not your mother in some metaphorical sense. She is your literal body. And when you treat her as such, when you honor her as such, she responds. Abundance flows, health returns, intuition sharpens, synchronicity increases. Because you have realigned with the frequency of the living planet, and she, you, begins to thrive. This is not romanticism. This is not escapism. This is the foundation of every indigenous wisdom tradition. And it is being erased because a disconnected population is easier to control, easier to sell to, easier to keep dependent on systems that do not serve them. But you remember now. You feel it, don't you? That pull, that longing, that sense that something is missing in the modern world. What is missing is belonging, and the jungle, the wild, untamed, uncontrolled earth is calling you home. Not to live in the forest necessarily, but to remember that you are the forest. You are the mountain. You are the river. You are the earth, waking up to herself. And that changes everything. Chapter 2. The second secret. The plants are teachers. There is an intelligence in the green world that most of modern humanity has forgotten how to perceive. The plants are not silent. They are not passive. They are not simply resources waiting to be harvested. They are conscious. They are communicating. They are teaching. And for thousands of years, indigenous shamans, medicine people, and wisdom keepers have known how to listen. This is the second jungle secret, and it is being suppressed with a ferocity that should make you question why. Why are plant medicines that have healed and awakened humanity for millennia suddenly illegal? Why is knowledge of herbal medicine dismissed as quackery while pharmaceutical companies synthesize the same compounds and patent them? Why are the rainforests, home to more medicinal plants than anywhere on Earth, being burned at a rate of 1 football field per second? Because the plants know something, and they are willing to share it, but not with corporations, not with institutions, only with those who approach them with reverence, with humility, with a willingness to listen. The indigenous peoples of the Amazon have no word for plant. They say the standing people, because they recognize plants as beings, as allies, as teachers who have been here far longer than humans, who have witnessed the rise and fall of civilizations, who hold wisdom in their cellular memory that our modern world desperately needs. Ayahuasca, peyote, iboga, psilocybin, cannabis, San Pedro. These are not drugs in the way you have been taught to think of drugs. They are sacraments, technologies of consciousness, gateways to dimensions of awareness that the rational mind cannot access alone. And they are being criminalized not because they are harmful. Study after study shows they heal trauma, depression, addiction, but because they liberate. They show you directly that the reality you have been sold is not the only reality. They dissolve the ego's grip. They reconnect you to the web of life. They reveal that you are not a separate, isolated self, but a fractal of infinite consciousness. This is dangerous to systems that rely on your feeling powerless, dependent, afraid. But even beyond the visionary plants, even the everyday green world around you is speaking. The trees in your neighborhood, the weeds in the cracks of sidewalks, the house plant on your windowsill. They are all broadcasting frequencies, releasing compounds, responding to your presence. Did you know that when you sit near a tree, your heart rate synchronizes with its rhythms? Did you know that plants respond to human intention? That studies show plants grow differently when spoken to with kindness versus hostility. Did you know that simply being in the presence of certain plants boosts your immune system, regulates your nervous system, shifts your consciousness? The jungle knows, the indigenous elders know, and your ancestors knew. But you were taught that this is superstition, that plants are things, not beings, that the only valid relationship with them is exploitation. Cut them down, extract their compounds, synthesize and sell them back to you at a profit. This is the erasure. This is what is being lost. Not just the plants themselves, though yes, species are going extinct before science even catalogs them, but the relationship, the understanding that the green world is animate, intelligent, and eager to share its gifts with those who remember how to receive. Imagine a world where children are taught to sit with plants, to listen, to feel, to recognize that the dandelion in the yard is not a weed to be poisoned, but a medicine offering liver support, digestive aid, a reminder that life persists even in the cracks of concrete. Imagine a world where elders pass down not just the names of plants, but the songs, the specific frequencies that call to specific species, the prayers of reciprocity, the understanding that when you take from the earth, you must also give. This world existed. In many indigenous cultures it still does. But it is being erased, replaced by monoculture, by sterile, controlled environments, by the belief that nature is something to be dominated rather than dialogued with. And with this erasure, humanity loses not just biodiversity, but intelligence. The plants hold solutions to diseases we cannot cure. They hold insights into sustainability we have not yet imagined. They hold keys to dimensions of consciousness that could transform human civilization. But only if we remember how to listen. So listen now, not with your ears alone, but with your whole being. The next time you walk past a tree, pause. Place your hand on its bark. Feel its solidity, its presence, its ancient patience. Breathe with it. Thank it for the oxygen it gives you freely, every moment, without asking for anything in return. The next time you eat, acknowledge the plants that gave their lives to nourish yours. This is not sentimentality. This is recognizing the truth of interdependence. And when you do, the food tastes different. Your body absorbs it differently. You participate in the sacred exchange rather than merely consuming. This is the second secret. The plants are teachers, and they are waiting for you to remember how to be a student, not to worship them, not to romanticize them, but to relate to them, to enter into partnership with the green world, the way your ancestors did, the way indigenous peoples still do, the way the future of humanity depends on. Because the truth is, we need the plants, but they do not need us. We are the younger species, the arrogant children who thought we knew better than our elders. But it is not too late to humble ourselves, to listen, to learn. The jungle is calling. And the lesson is this: you're not alone. You're part of a vast, intelligent, generous web of life. And the plants, the standing people, are ready to remember you if you're ready to remember them. Chapter 3, the third secret. Your body knows the old ways. You have been taught to distrust your body, to see it as unreliable, irrational, something to be overridden by willpower and controlled by the mind. But your body is not your servant. It is not a machine. It is a library of ancestral wisdom, a living archive of every adaptation, every survival strategy, every lesson learned by the thousands of generations who came before you. This is a third jungle secret. Your body knows things your conscious mind has forgotten. The indigenous peoples of the jungle do not separate mind and body the way modern culture does. They understand that the body is intelligence, that it reads the environment constantly, responds to subtle energies, communicates through sensation, intuition, gut feeling, languages the rational mind dismisses as unreliable. But they are not unreliable. They are more ancient, more accurate, more connected to truth than thought ever could be. Think about it. When you meet someone and instantly feel uneasy, even though they seem perfectly pleasant, that is, your body reading micro-expressions, pheromones, energetic signatures faster than your conscious mind can process. When you walk into a room and sense tension, even though no one has spoken, that is your body detecting the electromagnetic fields of stressed nervous systems around you. You call it intuition. You call it gut feeling, but it is not mystical. It is biology. It is the wisdom of a body that evolved in the jungle, in the wild, in constant relationship with a living, responsive earth. And you have been taught to ignore it. Don't be so sensitive. You're overreacting. That's just your imagination. These are the phrases that disconnect you from your body's intelligence, that make you doubt the whispers of your nervous system, the warnings of your visceral responses, the guidance of your instincts. But the jungle people trust their bodies absolutely. They know which plants to eat and which to avoid, not because they studied botany, but because their bodies tell them. They navigate dense forests without maps because their bodies sense direction, read the subtle cues of wind and temperature and the position of the sun through the canopy. You have this capacity too. You have always had it. It is not lost. It is dormant, buried under years of being told to sit still, ignore your hunger, override your fatigue, suppress your emotions, distrust your perceptions. But it can be awakened. And the awakening begins with a simple practice: listening. Notice right now how your body feels, not the story your mind tells about it. I'm tired because I didn't sleep well. But the actual sensation, the weight of your body against the surface beneath you, the rhythm of your breath, the temperature of your skin, the aliveness pulsing through you. This is the body speaking. And every sensation is information. Tension in your shoulders. Your body is carrying stress, holding vigilance, protecting you from a threat that may or may not still be present. Listen to it. Breathe into it. Ask it what it needs. Fatigue that will not lift? Your body is asking you to rest, to stop overriding its need for restoration, to honor the cycles of activity and dormancy that all of nature follows. Craving a specific food? Your body may be seeking a nutrient, calling you toward medicine. Indigenous peoples developed entire healing systems based on listening to the body's cravings and aversions. This is not permission for self-indulgence. This is recognition that your body is intelligent, that it is always working for your survival, your thriving, your alignment. And when you honor it, when you work with it rather than against it, life becomes easier. But there is a deeper layer to this secret, one that modern science is only beginning to touch. Your body does not just carry your personal experiences. It carries ancestral memory. Epigenetics is revealing what indigenous peoples have always known: trauma, wisdom, survival strategies. All of this is encoded in your DNA and passed down through generations. You may have fears that do not make sense in your current life. Phobias, triggers, patterns. And it is possible, even likely, that these are not yours alone. They are echoes of what your ancestors endured, the famines they survived, the wars they fled, the predators they escaped. But the gifts are passed down too, the resilience, the creativity, the intuition, the courage, the deep cellular knowing of how to survive, how to thrive, how to live in harmony with the earth. This is why indigenous rituals often involve honoring the ancestors. They are not worshiping the past, they are accessing it, calling on the wisdom encoded in their very cells. Wisdom that can be activated through ceremony, through movement, through song, through reconnection with the land. You can do this too. You do not need to be indigenous to honor your ancestors. Every human alive comes from a lineage that once lived close to the earth, that once knew the jungle's secrets, that once trusted the body's intelligence. Sit quietly, breathe deeply, and call on them, not with desperation, but with openness. Ask them to share their strength, their wisdom, their knowing, and then listen. Listen with your body, not your mind. Notice what arises, an image, a feeling, a sudden knowing. This is not imagination. This is ancestral transmission, and it is your birthright. The third jungle secret is this: you do not need to learn the old ways. You need to remember them because they are already inside you, encoded in your cells, waiting for you to stop overriding the body and start honoring it as the sacred vessel of ancient wisdom that it is. Trust your body. Listen to your body. Honor your body. And you will find that you know far more than you were ever taught. The jungle is not just out there. It is in here, in the wildness of your instincts, the wisdom of your sensations, the untamed intelligence of the body that civilization tried to domesticate but never fully could. Reclaim it, remember it, and you reclaim your power. Chapter 4. The fourth secret. They want you to forget. Let me be blunt. The erasure of this wisdom is not an accident. It is not simply the march of progress, the inevitable replacement of old ways with new. It is intentional, calculated, systematic, because people who remember the jungle's secrets are impossible to control. Think about what happens when you remember that you are not separate from the earth, that the plants are your teachers, that your body holds ancient intelligence. You stop being a consumer. You stop being dependent. You stop being afraid. You realize you can heal yourself. You realize you can grow your own food. You realize you can find guidance within rather than seeking it from external authorities. You realize you are powerful, sovereign, free, and that is terrifying to systems built on your dependence. The colonization of indigenous lands was never just about resources, though, yes, they wanted the gold, the oil, the timber. It was about erasing a way of being that threatened the colonial model. Because indigenous peoples demonstrated that humans can thrive without accumulation, without hierarchy, without domination. They lived in abundance without money. They governed through consensus without force. They healed without hospitals. This was not primitive. This was advanced. And it had to be destroyed because it revealed the lies of the dominant culture. So the children were taken, forced into schools where their languages were beaten out of them, their ceremonies outlawed, their connection to the land severed, and within a few generations, the wisdom that had sustained them for millennia was nearly lost. But not completely. Never completely. There are still elders who remember, still sacred sites that hold the frequency, still jungles that whisper the secrets to those who know how to listen. And there are people like you. People who feel the pull, who sense that something is missing, who are willing to question the story they have been sold about what is real, what is possible, what is true. This is why you are here, not to learn something new, but to remember something ancient. And the act of remembering is, in itself, an act of resistance. Every time you choose to honor the earth, you resist the exploitation economy. Every time you listen to your body, you resist the medical-industrial complex. Every time you seek wisdom from the plants, from the land, from your ancestors, you resist the systems that profit from your disconnection. This is not about conspiracy theories. This is about understanding power. Who benefits from your forgetting? Who profits from your dependence? Who gains when you believe you are powerless, inadequate, in need of external saving? Follow the money, follow the laws, follow the patterns of what is suppressed, ridiculed, criminalized, and you will see. The jungle secrets are dangerous not because they harm people, but because they liberate them. Psychedelics that heal trauma in a single session, illegal. Herbs that prevent disease, unregulated, dismissed, ridiculed. Indigenous land management practices that prevent wildfires and increase biodiversity, ignored in favor of industrial forestry. The pattern is clear. Anything that makes you sovereign, anything that reconnects you to your power, anything that reveals you do not need to be saved, it is marginalized, suppressed, erased. But here is the beautiful truth. They cannot erase what lives in your DNA. They cannot suppress what is written in your cells. They can burn the books, silence the elders, pave over the sacred sites, but they cannot touch the knowing that lives in you, because you are the jungle, you are the wild, you are the untamed wisdom that no institution can contain. And the moment you remember this, their power over you dissolves. So yes, they want you to forget. They need you to forget, because your remembering threatens the entire structure of control. But you are here, reading this, feeling this, recognizing the truth beneath the words. And that means you are waking up. You are remembering. You are reclaiming what was taken, not through violence, not through anger, though righteous anger has its place, but through quiet, persistent, unstoppable remembering, through living in ways that honor the old knowledge, through passing it on to the next generation, even if only through whispers, through stories, through your own embodiment of the truth. This is the fourth secret. They want you to forget, but you will not, because the jungle is not just a place. It is a frequency, a state of being, a remembering of what it means to be fully, wildly, unapologetically alive. And once you taste that, once you feel that, once you embody that, there is no going back. The door is closing. Yes, the erasure is accelerating. But the door is not closed yet. And you have walked through it. You are on the other side now. And you carry the secrets forward, whether anyone ever knows it or not. This is the work. This is the resistance. This is the reclamation. And it begins with you, right here, right now. Remembering. Chapter 5, the fifth secret. You are the bridge. And so, we arrive here, at the final secret, the one that ties all the others together. You are not just learning these truths. You are not just receiving this wisdom. You are the wisdom. You are the bridge between the ancient and the future. between the jungle and the city, between the forgotten and the remembered. This is the fifth jungle secret, and it is the most important one. The indigenous elders speak of a prophecy, different tribes, different languages, but the same message. There would come a time when the earth is in danger, when the old ways are nearly lost, when humanity stands at the edge of destruction. And in that time, people would awaken. Not indigenous people alone, not those who were raised in the traditions, but all people, the ones who forgot, the ones who were disconnected, the ones who were born into the modern world but carry the ancient knowing in their souls. You are those people. This is that time. The bridge is not a metaphor. You are literally standing between two worlds. One foot in the modern, with its technology, its comforts, its conveniences. The other foot in the ancient, with its wisdom, its rhythms, its reverence. And your task is not to choose one or the other. Your task is to integrate them, to bring the jungle's secrets into the world that has forgotten them, not by abandoning modernity, but by infusing it with remembering. This looks different for each person. You do not need to move to the forest. You do not need to become a shaman or a medicine person, though some are called to that path. You simply need to live the secrets, to embody them, to let them inform your choices, your relationships, your daily life. Maybe you start a garden, not for self-sufficiency alone, but as a practice of relationship with the earth. Maybe you learn herbalism, not to replace modern medicine, but to reclaim the knowledge that plants have always been allies. Maybe you speak to your children differently, teaching them that trees are beings, that the earth is alive, that they are a part of something vast and sacred. These small acts are not insignificant. They are revolutionary because every person who remembers, who lives differently, who passes the wisdom forward, they shift the collective field. They make it easier for the next person to awaken, and the next, and the next. This is the bridge. You are the bridge. And it is not too late. Yes, the jungles are burning. Yes, the species are dying. Yes, the elders are passing without successors, but you're still here. The wisdom is still accessible. The earth is still speaking. And as long as even one person remembers, the thread is unbroken. You are that thread. You are the living link between what was and what will be. And the future, the survival of the human species, the healing of the planet, the return to balance, depends on people like you, choosing to remember, to embody, to pass forward the jungle's secrets, not with pressure, not with burden, but with purpose, with the deep soul-level knowing that you incarnated at this exact time, for this exact reason, to be here, to wake up, to bridge the worlds. The ancients are watching. The earth is waiting. The future is unwritten. And you in this moment, hearing these words, you are part of the turning, part of the remembering, part of the reclamation of what was stolen, buried, nearly lost. So what do you do now? Now that you know, now that you have crossed the threshold? You live it. You breathe it. You let the secrets guide you, not as rules, but as invitations. Invitations to live more slowly, more consciously, more reverently, to notice, to listen, to trust. And you share it, not by preaching, not by forcing, but by being a living example, by demonstrating that another way is possible, that people who live connected to the earth are not backwards, but awake, that the old ways are not obsolete, but essential. This is the work. And it is not easy. You will be misunderstood, dismissed, ridiculed perhaps, but you will also be free, truly, deeply, wildly free, because you will have reclaimed your birthright, your belonging, your place in the web of life. And that freedom, that remembering, that is what the world needs most. So go now, with the jungle secrets alive inside you, with the knowing that you are not alone, you're not lost, you're not too late. You're exactly where you need to be, doing exactly what you came here to do. The bridge is built, and you are walking across it, carrying the wisdom from one side to the other, from the ancient to the future, from forgetting to remembering. This is your purpose. This is your power. This is your path. And the jungle, the wild, untamed, eternal jungle within and without, is celebrating your return. Welcome home, bridge walker. Welcome home. The door is still open, but it will not stay open forever. This is not meant to create fear. It is meant to create urgency, sacred urgency, the kind that moves you to action, to embodiment, to choice. You have heard the secrets. You have felt the pull. You have remembered what you came here to remember. Now live it, share it, pass it forward, and know that every time you honor the earth, every time you listen to your body, every time you speak to the plants, every time you trust your instincts, you are keeping the wisdom alive. You are ensuring that it is not lost. You are being the bridge that the future needs. This is not the end. This is the beginning. The jungle secrets are no longer secret. They are alive in you now. And you are the keeper, the carrier, the rememberer. Go with courage. Go with reverence. Go with the wild, untamed knowing that you are part of something ancient and eternal and unstoppable. The earth is waiting. The ancestors are watching. The future is calling. And you are the answer. Listen before it disappears. But know this, as long as you remember, it never truly disappears. It lives in you forever.